little squares of pasta mixed with little cubes of potato, served with onion fried in butter. Simplicity, perfection, and the ultimate embodiment of the Slovak multiple-carb approach to life. I've been living in Slovakia for 28 years, and I have eaten a lot of great stuff. And a few monstrosities. Along the way, I think Slovakia has infected me, in the best possible way. Before we begin on the feast, a brief geographical note, because I know the comments are coming and I'd rather get there first. Quite a few of the foods I'm about to mention are not exclusively Slovak. Goulash is strongly connected to Hungarian cuisine, as are langos, paprikaš and doboš. Schnitzel is most closely linked with Vienna. Hovězí vrabec is probably based on Czech moravský vrabec, and is served with karlovarské knedlíky, which are also Czech. Frankfurters are German. Pierogi are internationally better known as pierogi, and Poland will tell you they got there first. Even Bryndzové, a kind of sheep's cheese and key component of the national dish, Bryndzové Halušky, was brought to Slovakia by shepherds from present-day Romania in the 14th century. Slovakia sits at a crossroads, and its food reflects that honestly. I live here, I eat these things here, at Slovak tables, in Slovak restaurants cooked by Slovak people. That's what we're talking about today, and it's lovely. So without further ado, let's tuck in. When I first moved to Humenné in 1998, I used to do my weekly shopping on Saturday morning and then pop round for brunch with the area coordinator Jane and her Slovak partner, Andrej. It was they who started my frankfurter journey. Andrej's favourite were bratislavské párky, which come in a little plastic skin and have to be peeled, and so they were my first favourite too, which was a bit ironic in Humenné. These days I prefer strasburské from Lidl. Firmer, no skin, reasonably high meat content, though it's probably best not to think about what meat. In Britain in 1998, sliced white in a plastic bag accounted for about half of all bread sold. Coming to Slovakia and encountering fresh bread rolls, or rožky, and massive loaves of fluffy brown bread to slice and eat with my párky, these are small daily pleasures I have genuinely never stopped appreciating. Another habit I picked up from Andrej was Turecká Káva, Slovak Turkish coffee, the kind where you pour boiling water directly onto the grounds and stir carefully. This, Párky, the Decahitty chart show on TV, and then some Tekken on the PlayStation. I've made my peace with modern espresso machines and all the other apparatus of coffee culture, but there is something about a nice hot cup of Treska that is unparalleled. An honourable mention while we're still in Humenné, Parenica, a rolled, steamed, sometimes smoked cheese that comes in a long spiral. I used to tear it into strips and eat it on rožky with Tatárska omáčka while teaching. I was 24. Tatárska, incidentally, deserves a word of its own. In Britain, tartar sauce is a sad jar at the back of the cupboard, produced only when fish is on the menu. Tatárska omáčka is something else entirely, like supercharged mayonnaise. Chopped gherkins provide some extra flavour to accompany relatively mild flavours like Parenica, and enough sharpness to cut through the considerable fat of a potato pancake. I have put it on a great many things that have nothing to do with fish. A Slovak meal without soup is not quite complete. I'm not such a stickler for this as many Slovaks, but I am a fan of the two-course meal. What's not to like about extra hydration and taking the edge of your appetite while you're waiting for the main course? I should say I prefer thick soups, fazolova with smoked meat, babka's Hokkaido pumpkin, over vývar or broth, which is the gold standard of Slovak soups. But even that's fine if you put enough noodles in it. Pork schnitzel, chicken schnitzel, always a reliable choice in a koliba or salash, and particularly good for me, because it's something I simply don't make at home. I'm a reasonably competent cook, but I just don't enjoy frying. Special mention to the Chernohorsky rezin, pork schnitzel in a garlicky potato batter, dense as plutonium, frequently served with additional potatoes. Double carb. I love it, unreservedly. And let's not forget the retro classic cordon bleu. A linguistic fossil, French cordon bleu or blue ribbon filtered badly through Slovak phonetics. Breaded chicken breast stuffed with ham and cheese. Absolute classic with rice and chips, pol na pol, half and half. Zemiakové Placky absolutely blew my mind when I first tried them. Grated raw potato, heavily flavoured with garlic, fried as a pancake and served with Tatárska or mačka. Halušky are the potato pancake's cousins, mashed potato mixed with flour, rolled into thin round flatbreads and dry fried. They might be served just with melted butter or with roast duck or goose and braised red cabbage as part of a hairty or feast. I discovered at some point that I am a red cabbage person. Slovakia told me so. And on a similar theme, but without the potatoes, the langos, a deep-fried dough pillow of Hungarian extraction, available at Christmas markets and best eaten with Tatárska, garlic and cheese. No, ketchup is not an option. It's not a bloody pizza. Another honourable mention at this point to vypržaný sír, or fried cheese, the Slovak children's staple, breaded Edam cheese, deep-fried, served with chips and Tatárska. Grease, on grease, in grease, with grease. I don't order it often, but I do respect it. It's also the only legitimate use, in my opinion, for the rather bland Slovak Edam, or ciechla. I once tried making fried cheese with cheddar, and suffice to say, it did not end well. Granadierski pochod, little squares of pasta mixed with little cubes of potato, served with onion fried in butter. Simplicity, perfection, and the ultimate embodiment of the Slovak multiple-carb approach to life. 2 carbs, 1 dish. It sounds like nothing and tastes like everything that's right about Slovak food. Peasant logic, filling, cheap, and deeply satisfying. Hovězí vrabec is a dish served in the Czech-themed Pilsner pub in Košice. Its name means beef sparrow, and I'm guessing it's based on the Czech classic Moravský vrabec, replacing pork with slow-cooked beef in a fantastic jus. It is served with a massive pile of delicious braised red cabbage, yes, again, and the Czech-style karlovarské knedlíky. I recommend it to you without reservation and acknowledge the geographical complications. Slovakia has a special section on restaurant menus for food made predominantly from flour, mučné jedla. The stars of this section for me are the national dish Bryndzové Halušky, which we'll come to in a minute, and Bryndzové pyrohy. These are half-moons of dough filled with potato and Brindza cheese and boiled. Sometimes the dough also has potato in it, because Slovakia. Halušky looks, and I say this with genuine affection, like something the dog sicked up. But it tastes extraordinary. Salty sheep's cheese, smoky bacon, and a kind of potato gnocchi. I should note that mučné jedla have sweet iterations, pyrohy with jam, šuliance with poppy seeds, and these are often served as a main course, especially on Fridays. The concept of the sladký obed, or sweet lunch, is not something I have fully made my peace with. I understand it historically, but a plate of sweet dumplings as a main meal still leaves me feeling personally wronged. This is no doubt a me problem. And for dessert, medové řezy. Thin layers of honey sponge, interleaved with lovely sweet cream and topped with a chocolate glaze. Takes babka ages to make, I think, but every year they are the genuine highlight of my Slovak Christmas. I say this as someone who is not, in general, a fan of Slovak cakes. I know you're proud of them, and I am genuinely sorry, but I just don't have a terribly sweet tooth. I will, though, give an honourable mention to pečené buchty, fluffy baked buns filled with jam and eaten warm. If you haven't had one fresh from the oven, you need to do something about that. Of course, no country's food is made entirely of things you love. And after 27 years, I have discovered there are a few corners of Slovak cuisine which still defeat me. Žížalky, called dažďovky in Slovak, though everyone uses the Czech word, are delicious, sour, gummy worms which strongly remind me of the fizzy cola bottles of my childhood. No complaints whatsoever. Sour liquids are an entirely different matter. Cabbage soup, kapusnica. Sour mushroom soup, machanka. The one which is just warm fermented cabbage water, juška. For some reason that reminds me of the informal Slovak name for intensive care, jiska. And the fermented dairy, kefir, cmar, acidofilné mlieko, žinčica. There seem to be so many of them, and they all evoke in me a physical response I should probably not describe. Okay, that's one monstrosity. Next one, the mayonnaise salads. Of these, potato salad is probably the least offensive. I would still rather have potatoes in almost any other form, but I understand it. Vlašský, parížský. I'm honestly not entirely sure what's even in them. They appear to be a large quantity of mayonnaise with a few pieces of boiled ham and some chopped vegetables. And then there is Treska. The word means cod, but these days it mostly refers to what my daughter once described as a kind of fish yogurt. It's a cod salad, invented in 1954 by a chef called Julius Boško, commissioned by a state fish company trying to sell cod in a landlocked country. The traditional way to eat it is sitting on a bench outside Tesco's, or in a car outside Lidl, scooping globs of the filthy stuff from a plastic tub using a bread roll as cutlery. That's two monstrosities. I was once invited to dinner in Hungarian at the home of an Anglophile, a generous man genuinely delighted to have a young English teacher at his table. He had gone to real trouble. He served húspenina, boiled ham and assorted vegetables suspended, not in mayonnaise this time, but in a massive block of aspic. My memory may be embellishing here, but I feel like it was almost certainly revealed by removing, with a flourish, a silver cloche. I ate it. I was a guest. It was the early days. He's gone now, and I tell this story with nothing but warmth for him and his hospitality. I have not eaten húspenina since. That's 3 monstrosities. A bit of a throwback now. Chicken Diana is a chicken breast topped with half a preserved apricot, covered with a melted processed cheese slice. Just appalling. I'd say Slovak food performs considerably better when it keeps it simple and stays true to what it is. That's 4 monstrosities. Tripe soup. Here's the thing, it tastes good, the flavour is great, but the texture, slightly rubbery, unmistakably stomach-like, is something I've simply never been able to get past. Credit where it's due. Half a monstrosity. There is one combination which just doesn't seem to appear in Slovak cuisine at all. Meat in pastry. Britain has pies, pasties, sausage rolls. Ukraine has vushka or pelmeni, essentially small meat-filled pyrohi. Spain and many other countries have empanadas. The Balkans and Middle East have burek. Asia has approximately 1,000 variations on meat-filled dumplings. For reasons which remain shrouded in mystery, at least to me, Slovakia has largely chosen not to engage with this concept at all. No meat-filled pyrohi, no chicken pie, no sausage rolls. I would love to be wrong about this, so if you know of a delicious Slovak meat-filled pastry, please let me know in the comments. And I'm afraid pagače categorically do not count. The logic of Slovak food is simple once you understand it. Farmers, no refrigeration. Long winters. Pork, because pigs convert scraps into protein efficiently. Sheep, because the mountains were better for grazing than crops. And sheep give you milk, cheese and wool before meat. Potatoes and flour, because they keep. Cabbage, because you can ferment it. Fat, because you needed the calories to work the fields. Everything follows from that. The carbs, the soups, the bryndza, the penchant for fermenting and preserving. In Hungarian in the late 1990s, my wife's family kept a pig. The first Zemiakové I witnessed, the autumn pig slaughter, was an education. I was still pulling on my shoes when I heard the squeal, but I was there for everything else. The butchering, the blood sausage, the slivovitsa at 8 in the morning, the efficiency, the respect for the animal, the craft, the process. Nothing was wasted. Everything meant something. I loved it. 27 years later, I have strong opinions about frankfurters. I make my own pasties because Slovakia just won't. I have not eaten húspenina since approximately 1999, and babka's medoverezi remain the highlight of my Christmas. Slovakia got into me gradually and without asking permission. And on balance, I'm rather glad it did. I'm James Blore, and this has been the Blorecast. Do widzenia and dobry chuť.